Hello, welcome to the channel. This is going to be the start of a little bit of a, I guess, mini-series on doing a small makeover on my dad's 2008 Mustang. Now he passed away a few years ago and I inherited the car and have been trying to keep it in the same condition and just stock form that he's always had it in. Never really messed with it. But I feel like this year is the time to just do something a little bit different. So this episode is going to cover a set of coilovers that are going to go in as the old suspension is starting to make some clunking noises and needs to be replaced. And then eventually the next episode will be a vinyl wrap. Been kind of messing with a few colors here, but there is a emerald green color that's on the back here that I really like, and a matte emerald green. Gonna do that in the next episode for everyone. Throw a wrap together, and the car's kind of needed a little bit of a redo. You know, got some black tape here holding back some paint chips and stuff. My dad took the car for a nice big long tour around part of the southern U.S. and stuff like that, and didn't put a cover or anything protective on the front of the car. He just kind of sent it, and so it definitely needs a respray. So I figured, why not have a little bit of fun with some stuff that I can always put back to stock condition, and you know, keep the same stance of the car but maybe get it a little bit lower, have a little bit of fun, as I've never owned coilovers before and I've never put on a wrap before. So see what it can do, see how cool it can make it look. Maybe tint the windows a little bit and give it a little bit of a change. So let's go check out the coilovers. Alright, so I ended up going on Amazon, kind of doing this on the cheap, but they seem alright. Some MaxspeedingRods coilovers. Quickly popped open the box just to make sure that it was the right order. Upon a quick look, it does look like the right stuff, but I haven't actually had a chance to unpackage it. So I'm excited to take a look over everything. Watch out. And pull it all out and start messing around with stuff. Never done this, never messed around with coilovers, so probably gonna have to watch a couple videos. I don't really think there's very good instructions in here from what I understand, but take a look over it. See what all the good stuff does. Apparently this kit can lower the car up to 3 inches, so would definitely like to drop it a little bit, have some fun, and see if I can figure out how to adjust how tight the suspension is, or, you know, keep it a little bit softer. But I don't know, here we go. Let's pull it out. Alright, have everything pulled out of the box. A little bit of the rear suspension. Alright. Not the biggest orange guy, but that actually looks pretty nice. Not bad, guys. Looking good. Just mess them all up right off the bat. Alright, I'm going to put the phone down for a second, unwrap the rest of these. Hey. Alright, now that I got all the parts laid out and have looked over them a little bit better, I think I kind of have an idea of what's going on before fully looking up everything. Got the car in, gonna start jacking up the rear end and taking a peek at stuff and just kind of start playing around with things and looking up some videos. All right, with the nut removed from the top, drop the jack down all the way just until it bottomed out. And that's nice and free. We're just about at the limitations of the brake line and stuff like that, so got to keep an eye on that. Left the sway bar link on and stuff like that just to kind of hold things in place, which means the coilover is just, or the coil is just about there. It's pretty much got a pry bar there, one-handed, and it's pretty much ready to come out. So should be able to get that out fairly easy. Hit 2 bottom bolts that hopefully aren't too rusty and give me any problems. I'm going to give them a good soak here before going at it. So these 2 bolts could cost me a few hours or a couple of minutes, so we'll see. All right, we have everything out of the car a lot easier than I was expecting. The bolts didn't give me any problems at all, and a slight little pry up on the coils, and they just came right out of the bottom of the car. Everything was super easy. You can definitely see the difference comparing them to the new coils. All right, we have just a little bit of tension on there. It's not like loose or just touching. It's got a little tension on it, but that bump stop is getting pretty close. So that might be disappearing, at least just to kind of see how the ride height is just for now. So looks like I got some bolts I need to dig out. So stoked to see that they're a Torx bit. Or well, either that or that's getting trimmed or cut or something, but we're gonna see how low this sits with no adjustment on the coilover and just taking it at ride height. It's kind of springy right now, so I have a feeling this is gonna bury things pretty good and definitely not really be usable. I have to bring it back up a little bit, but that's right, we'll get there. We will get there. All right, everything's in place. Tightened down just by impact right now. Nothing's torqued. Probably gonna have to be taking these out and doing some minor adjustments. And this is at the end of its stroke or throw or whatever. The jack is off the rear diff, so it's fully maxed out, and thankfully we have no movement in the coil. We've got a little bit of pressure there. Nothing's going nowhere. Happy with that. It's time to throw the wheels on, get the jacks out of there, and see how low this sits. Front's not done yet, so gonna have a little bit of a mini Carolina squat going on, but that's all right. We'll see how it goes. Bump stops came out pretty nice. Got a little bit of extra room now, and see how close we come. Haha. All right, the big reveal. Been putting in some time. Everything went really nice. Lowered it down, was actually able to pull the jack out. And there we go. I am liking that. Like a dummy, I forgot to take a measurement beforehand, but it is just covering the tire. And if I get some offset wheels or kick that out a little bit more, that is gonna fit nicely in there. I cannot wait to come out and do the front tomorrow. All right, it is the next morning. We're back at it, getting to work on the front end. Starting to pull strut bolts and stuff like that. Maybe getting ahead of myself a little bit, but found this interesting little guy. You know, maybe try to remember to remove the wires you use to hold up your brake calipers when you're done your brake job. So, not sure how long I've been cruising around with that, still dangling off my car. Not sure that's super safe, but that's right. It's not completely rusted out. It hasn't hopefully been there too long. Getting our bolts soaking. Sway bar link ends, or yeah. All right, time to get to work. All right, everything was out. Not too difficult. You can definitely see the a size difference there, just like on the rear end. So I'm just going to probably do the same thing. Bottom these out as kind of far as they go. Give them a nice tighten. Put a little bit of load on the springs, tighten them up just a little bit, but basically leave them the same as the back. Thankfully they gave us some new steer bar link ends so we can make the proper adjustments. And yeah, it's going quite nice. Gonna have some new lower Gonna have some new lower control arms come in here hopefully soon. But I'm not waiting. I'm just gonna throw in the suspension anyways, just so I can kind of see how everything's going, see if I like the way that it sits and the way that it rides, and then I can do the lower control arms later. I'm not holding my breath for Amazon. It is what it is when you live out in the country. Sometimes stuff shows up and sometimes it doesn't. So just get at it, throw in the fronts, and continue on. Alright, it's all in there, just loosely. Nuts aren't on yet, but that is definitely sitting high up there in that wheel arch. Going to be very interesting to see this thing on the ground. And now I'm going to have to tighten up the upper section here. And got to tighten these guys up, stuff like that. Man, that's going to be awesome. Can't wait. Other side is in. Just the same way, getting ready to throw some fasteners on. Try the wheels and get it on the ground. Oh, and the other thing, I already moved my camber adjustment all the way to the back. Just to kind of see how the car is going to sit. Did it while it was on the table. Obviously I don't have any room through the top of the strut mount here, so something to take into account for your own vehicle. But if I ever have to change that, I'm gonna have to take them completely out, make the adjustment. Dare I say, you know, trim this? I don't think so. I don't want to try doing that. I'd rather just take them out, make the adjustment on the bench, put them back in. It's not really that difficult of a thing to do. So let's get this wrapped up. All right, so this is already looking pretty interesting. We're not even down on the ground yet. That's tucked up in there pretty good. But let's bring it down and see how things are looking. Little bit by little, I gotta do each side a little at a time, and I have a feeling the jacks aren't gonna come out, so I'm gonna have to get some chunks of wood, but we'll see that when we get there. Perfect. Of course it's going to be perfect. Now I got to take this stuff back off to put the sway bar links in. Woo! I wonder if I can still turn the wheels all the way. Oh man, I am excited. Where the hell are my keys? Sick! Yeah. Oh, that looks good. All right, this thing looks awesome. Now that we're outside, great stance. I think it's awesome. Wheel spacers are probably not working out in the back, but I am going to give them a go on the front just to kind of take a look. I like it a lot. Just enough ground clearance to not just annihilate your car going down the road. Love it. So I actually have to pull it back in and throw those sway bar link ends on before I take it for a test drive. I didn't think it was gonna sit that nicely. That's all right. Pull it back in, tighten everything up, torque some wheels, torque some bolts, and time to take it for a cruise. That's awesome. Yee-hoo! Driveway, hit some bumps. Listen for any rubbing. See if it'll coast nicely by itself. Nothing's rubbing. Think what I got going on? A little rubbing right up in here. Where are ya? All right, we're back in action on the road. We are back in action on the road. It was just dust shield behind the brake rotor making some noise. We are fixed and good, ready to roll. Oh, this feels great. Very responsive. something correct. I finally have the clunk sounds gone out of the suspension. Alright, doing the little first impressions walk up. I think it's looking pretty damn good. I gotta get that red strip of wrap off there, but yeah, that's looking nice. Nice stance. Yee-hoo. Yes. Alright, it has been a couple of days since the coilovers have gone in. Had a chance to take it for a test drive. Mushy, quiet buds, I'm filming. Sorry guys. Shh, shh. Yeah, it's been a couple of days. Took it for a drive to work. I got to test out some dry conditions, test out some wet conditions. Even did a couple little ripper donuts here in the backyard, as you can tell by some of the mud on the car. And it is definitely just a smidge too low for Calgary, Alberta roads. They're definitely a little rough around here. But that being said, for having the suspension as absolutely as low as I can put it and as soft as I can put it, I did only kind of hit a couple of times and only on really bad spots on the road. So I'm not too far away from having it just about dialed in. So the front end will go up, back end will go up even a little further. I want to put a little bit of a rake back into it, make it look a little more muscle car-ish like it should. And stay away from rubbing fender wells. So I can show the few viewers on here that don't know what happens when your car is too low. Since my Monte Carlo doesn't have an engine in it, the suspension's up nice and high. Top of your tire starts to rub into the top of your wheel well. Give you beauty little things like that. And I'll show you the inside. Now this car already sits pretty damn low, so I don't need one that's just as low. Now, I think the other side's worse. But you can start to see the cracks. And for instance, like right there, started to wear the plastic out, wear a little bit of a hole in the side of the inner fender. And as you can see, also starting right here, that's all wearing out from the inside, from the tire rubbing up against it and ripping that all out. So that's what you need to be careful with when your car is too low and you want to rip on the highway at full speed. Was ripping with the girlfriend and we hit a pretty good dip at about 100 and, I don't know, 10, 120 kilometers an hour, and the whole front end just did a dive. Both the tires just completely caved in the top of the wheel well, or like made full contact, basically worked like a brake, and then it just did a quick little nosedive until the suspension came back up and then was able to continue on. So want to change that up for the Mustang. I do want to actually be able to rip it with some decent speed and not have to worry about the car just getting annihilated on the bottom. And something I did notice about maxing out the camber, bringing that tire in a fair bit, it definitely hydroplanes a little tiny bit easier in the front now than it did before. So I think just for drivability, I'm going to pull that back out and get it a little more back to stock. But that's all right. I'm willing to give up on some looks for drivability. But here we go. Time to pull it into the garage and just, you know, bring her up just a little bit and a little more in the back. And then I got to stiffen the suspension. It's just it is a smidge too soft with not too much preload on it. So here we go, back into the garage. Whew. Whew. Little 1320 video. Keep you company. Fire roaring. Working on the car. Alright, I had to take the bump stop out from before because it was the car was too low and you wouldn't have been able to drive it. But I'd like to put it back in. It did hit this like once or twice when I was driving down the highway. So I'm thinking about taking that, maybe just chopping it down a little bit and having a mini bump stop. And they are cheap to replace, so get something that'll at least hit the frame before the axle does, or the diff. So I'm gonna get on that and give that a little chop. All right, this is a new one for me. I hate cutting through rubber with anything like a like a grinder or a cut-off wheel. It creates a lot of smoke and melt stuff and just nasty and gets all stringy and weird. And I couldn't find my metal hacksaw, so I'm going with just good old wood hacksaw. And you know what? It's working really nice. Just chucking little chunks all over the place. Oop. Focus. So, see how well I did one-handed. Not bad. I'm glad I came a little bit out at the bottom rather than in. Let's see if that's gonna at least do a little bit of something if it does go up there and hit. All right. Yeah, I should hit that at least before. Nice. Gives me a little bit of room. I can work with that. A little makeshift. Rather have something than nothing. So make a second one, throw those in, throw the wheels on, and time to go for a test drive. Hard to see, but it is 5:30 in the morning. I had to make a quick stop in Mexico on my way to work. Pretty impressive since I live in Canada. But gotta test out the new suspension somehow. Oh, that was perfect. Hell yeah. Oh, that sits just right. Just perfect. Just perfect. Hope I didn't piss anybody off this morning. Oh, it's great.